So my name is Sharon Whiteman, and it's my great pleasure to be here with Dana Hunter and Gary Knapp. And today we have an amazing panel of women, of which Diana and myself are a part of. And we're talking everything women's wellness. And it's such an important message. For those of you, we did a men's forum similarly, and Australian Men's Health Week in June. And that was highly acclaimed, and this will be the same. I'm really looking forward to it. And now we're very privileged to have Diana Hunter. She's a health educator, and I actually didn't put her whole bio in front of me, but I can tell you that I've known her for 20 some years, almost 30 years actually. And she's my go-to person for all things wellness. And she has an ability to pinpoint knowledge and priority actions. And she's a brilliant health coach. She's studied extensively, and I think she's one of our clearest and most sought after speakers in Australasia for our topic. So Dana, I will hand over to you. I know, just to let everybody know, as each speaker is going to share their story, they'll be invited to turn their camera on. So please be forgiving of a little bit of logistics. Dana, I'll go off camera now, and I'm looking forward to hearing everything you have to educate us on.
Thank you, Sharon, and welcome everybody. I'm excited to be here as part of our Women's Health Forum this morning. And I'm also looking forward to hearing from our guest speakers and what they have to share about how they've taken the power back into their own hands for their health and well-being. You know, there's a lot of information and education out there about how we can maintain our health naturally. And it can be overwhelming and somewhat confusing. So what I'd like to do is just take 10 minutes now to go back to basics. What establishes the foundation for our health and well-being? What is the first step? And it all starts with our cells. We're simply made up of trillions of cells, aren't we? They're the basic building block of our body. And scientists estimate that we have about anywhere between 40 and 70 trillion cells within our body. And there's two things that our cells need to do constantly. And one is to communicate, needs to communicate all structure and all function at a cellular level. And the other is that they need to replicate. Our cells are constantly reproducing. And again, the scientists estimate about 220 billion cells are produced every day. That's about 9 billion cells while we're meeting here in the next 45 minutes to an hour. And so if the cell is the basic building block of our body, what are they made up of? Well, of course, it's the nutrition that we're taking into our body every single day, the food and what we're choosing to drink. Our cells are 100% nutrition. So, of course, we have the macronutrients, the carbohydrates, the fats and the proteins, but I'm speaking here about the micronutrients, the amino acids, the fatty acids, the vitamins and minerals, phytochemicals. These are the micronutrients that our cells of our body needs for vitality and energy and for repair and recovery if something goes wrong. But unfortunately, our food is increasingly lacking in these micronutrients, and there's several factors behind this. Of course, we've got soil depletion from modern farming practices. We're growing our food over and over on the same soils. And unless the nutrition is in the soil, it's not going to be in the produce. And then we're green harvesting, picking the fruit and vegetable green before it's ripened on the plant. And that severely depletes the nutritional content of the produce. And then, of course, we're over processing our food and further depleting the nutritional content. Now, there's two other pressures on our health these days, and that is the level of stress that we're all under. And I'm sure if I asked you to put your hand up, just about everyone would have their hand up, that they have stress in their lives. And this puts equal pressure on our health to the lack of nutrition and also to the toxic load that we're all faced now with, both inside and outside our home. It's putting pressure on health. And, you know, due to these lack of nutrients, the stress levels on the toxic load, we're seeing increasing disease statistics now in our community. And so the first step to establish health in our body at that cellular level is to take care of our cellular terrain. Now, our body has this innate intelligence. It knows how to heal, repair, and recover. We just need to give it the right tools to do its job properly. And so I've got this analogy here. If we want healthy plants, we've got to have nutrition in the soil. If we want a healthy body, we've got to take care of the cellular nutrition, the cellular terrain. And so what are those nutrients for a healthy cellular terrain? Well, we've got our vitamins and minerals, the antioxidants, the phytosterols, the fatty acids, and for our gut terrain, our gastrointestinal terrain, we need probiotics. So we need all these nutrients for vital energy. And at the heart of all of this is the nutritional glycans. And I want to focus on that in a moment, just for a couple of minutes, because, you know, I call this communication central. We need nutritional glycans as the foundation of our cellular terrain so that our body can utilize to the optimum level all of these other nutrients that we either take in as supplements or that we're taking in via our food. That's my little rendition of the cellular communication. And so these nutritional glycans have only been aware in the scientific community for the last couple of decades. So this over here on the left is a graphic of a cell. This here is the cellular membrane, and you can see through that cellular membrane are these little antenna-like structures. And they are nutritional glycans, either bonded with a protein, it's called a glycoprotein, or a fatty acid, and that's a glycolipid. Now, these are forming receptor sites on the cell surface. So what happens is the cells come up together, rub up against each other, and pass information like a coded language. I call it cellular braille. And this is the foundation of communication of all structure and all function in the body. It really is the heart of communication in our cellular terrain. And of the 200 carbohydrates in nature, only 8 of them have this cellular communication function. And you're going to be hearing from our speakers today how adding these nutritional glycans into their diet, the positive impact that it's had on their cellular well-being and their overall health. And then the final point that I wanted to highlight is that our health is determined by the signals that the cell is receiving. So our cells respond to signals. And you can see here by this graphic, we've got another cellular graphic. This is the cell membrane. This is a signal passing by the cell. And this is the nutritional glycan receptor site on the cell surface. So the signal arrives here, it's received by the glycan, that's how important they are, and the cell has a response in some cellular action. So previously, decades ago, it was believed that, you know, our health was predetermined by our genes or our ancestral line. It's been discovered, and particularly the leader in this research was a Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he called this science epigenetics. And he discovered that our health is actually a response to the signal to the cell. So we can change the signals or improve the signals by improving our nutrition, improving our mindset and our attitude, or improving our lifestyle choices. And therefore, our body has a response to that, and the genetic expression is actually in response to that. So it's time to hear from our guest speakers how it's been for them. They've taken the power back in their own hands, taken care of their cellular terrain, embraced these nutritional glycans, and how that's played out in their health. So Sharon, I'll hand back to you, and we can welcome our guest speakers.
Thank you, Diana. And I'd like to call on Kaina and acknowledge you once again. Kaina, I know you're at work and you're slipping out so that you can be. So just turn on your camera and unmute yourself and help us hear your journey of partnering with Mannatech for your wellness. Oh, kind of was an ICU nurse. Something could have gone wrong. So kind of just wondering if you're there. We can come back to Kaina. So I'll call on Jan Willisey. Well done, Jan. So you've unmuted and adjust your camera.
How do I do that? Oh, that's
there
it.
You go. Perfect.
Okay. Oh, gosh, I've done something that I didn't know I could do.
Well done, Jan. So tell us a little bit about your journey with Mannatech.
Right. Well, my hormone journey, or my difficulty with my hormones, began when I was about 42. And despite the doctors telling me I was too young to be going through the change, as it was called then, I knew my body. I had mood swings, shocking mood swings, difficulty sleeping, and spots on my face and everything, and just feeling like life was just so trying. And then dealing with 2 teenagers and a full-time job was challenging. And yet I was still young. Try telling that to a teenage son going through all his problems. However, a physio colleague shared the products with me, knowing I had taken hormone replacement therapy for several years, and it was the only answer back then. After 5 months of taking glycans and phytosterols, I felt so much better. The mood swings improved, I was sleeping better, and just the sense I had my life back. And also my joint pain had eased considerably. I've just turned 78. I take no prescription medication, only excellent products, glycans, vitamins and minerals, fish oil, probiotics, and I just have energy to burn, and I love my busy retired life. Recently, a customer needed phytosterols because she'd run out, so I gave her my spare. Then I waited impatiently for the courier for my order to arrive. I was without them for 3 days. I so noticed the difference. And sorry. I just thank Mannatech every day, because as I've been taking them for 20 years, and I just take them every day, and I would not be without them ever. So I feel really good.
And thank you so very much. I've been able to witness some of that journey for you in being a friend of yours. And I can say that in the menstrual issues through to menopause, I've been very supported by this technology as well. And interesting, ladies and gentlemen, you may not know, but there's quite a few nurses that have come on board understanding the terrain of the body and understanding Western medicine is only part of the whole picture for maintaining our wellness. And I'm a nurse, Jan's a nurse, Kaina's a nurse, as you just heard, and Robin is a nurse as well. So Jan, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to call Robin Sully. So Robin's here under Kaina's name, but this is actually Robin. She's not impersonating her daughter. Robin, tell us, you've got an amazing story. Let us know. Robin is also a nurse. Let us know how your journey went with Mannatech.
Oh, thanks, Sharon. It's a real privilege personally to be able to share this morning, and I thank everybody for coming on. And I just pray that what I have to share can actually be a bit of a help to you. Well, most of you know a little bit of my story, but it started actually 25 years ago with a motor vehicle accident. And following the accident, after 5 years, I ended up with very excruciating spinal pain. My spine started to decompress down, which my spinal specialist told me would be a result. So I pleaded with my GP, what could I do? And he said, oh, just a little bit of this medication, Robin, and it will just take the pain away. I asked him, would it affect my bone density? No, he said, no, it's too mild a dose, you'll be fine. Well, a few months into taking this, I ended up with a problem with bone density. And so I stopped that medication, and it was at that point that I was actually introduced to the Mannatech supplements. So I went tooth for nail, I can tell you, to take these supplements. And so I started to take the supplements, which Diana actually mentioned, one of the main ones, which was the glycan product. I took that because I understood immediately that cellular communication had to be the basis if I was going to restore bone density. And I also know that bone is living tissue, and living tissue in our body needs nutrients, as Diana so beautifully explained for us. So that started my journey to study how I could do it. Well, I was privileged to go to America to the Manifest conference, and there I met Dr. Gil Cates, and this is his book, if you can all see it, and it talks about bone density. So I became part of his little research study, and I would go each year and he would do my DEXA scans for me. When I first went, I had an appalling DEXA scan. So then I decided, all right, with his help, how could I improve the use of my Mannatech supplements? And I think that's very important, because it's not just swallowing a supplement that's going to do anything. You have to know what you're doing and do it right. So Dr. Cates was a great help to me. So I started on the glycans. I started on the vitamin and minerals. I took the omega-3s. I took the probiotics. We only had probiotic at the time. I took the antioxidants, and I took the phytosterols. So basically all of Mannatech's products. I also took the Osaline product. So I went tooth for nail, as my nature is, and I went back the next year, and I had a very significant increase in bone density. He was amazed. To cut the whole story short, Sharon, because you've got many others, I went to him year after year for nearly 8 years until he was no longer able to go. And my last one, he actually called me back from the meeting to come back and have a second scan done, because he said, we have never seen such an improvement in bone density, and I can't believe you're reading. Can we do it again? So we did, and it came back the same. So I can only say that bone is living tissue. Living tissue in our body needs nutrients. Start swallowing it. We have to take a lot of the the glycan. And I did that because I understood that all the others were just like building on the foundation. So the foundation is what we really need, and that's the glycans. And I also believe that the symbiotic product we have works hand in glove with it, and I do take a lot of that. So I am now enjoying a very happy existence. I've turned 70, and I'm just so grateful for the Mannatech products, and also for you, Sharon, and your little team there, who give us this opportunity every Saturday to grow and educate. And it's our job now to get out and educate others. So thanks a lot. And I trust you can get Kyna. She's on her mobile at the hospital. So I trust she can come on too. Thanks a lot, Sharon, and all the best to everyone. Thank you.
Perfect, Robin. Those of us here watching live, you can have the opportunity to see Robin and her lovely daughter, Kyna, who's just joined us. So Kyna, if you can unmute, you're perfectly timed to arrive. It looks like you're frozen though. I'm not sure. Oh, there you are.
Oh, thank you. Hey, how are you this morning?
We're great. It's perfect timing, Kyna. Thanks for being here.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to tune in earlier. It was just a bit the wrong timing, but anyway, never mind. And thank you very much to Sharon and your wonderful team for having these calls for us each and every week. It's certainly a great thing to tune into and to be educated by, and to improve our knowledge and information that we can have to empower our own health and well-being. So thank you for that. And I think this week is a special topic for women's health, and that's obviously a topic that's near and dear to especially the women on the call, because we like to empower and inspire other women to take control of their health and well-being, not just for themselves, but also because oftentimes we have a big network of people we take care of. So you can't look after other people if you're in a bad situation yourself. So as you can tell, I'm a nurse, and I have been for nearly 18 years now. I work in a cardiovascular unit, and as you can imagine, it's a busy pace of life and work, and we work 12-hour shifts where I work. So I'm pleased to say that from the know about glyconutrients for about 16 years now, and I was obviously quite young when I first started, and I still like to think I'm young, not quite 25 anymore, but anyway. And I didn't really have any health challenges or conditions. I had a viral illness for a while, but one thing I did suffer with was chronic fatigue all the time. Didn't have chronic fatigue syndrome, but I was chronically fatigued, and I was always tired and run down, and I didn't have any energy. And I did take a lot of other supplements before I was introduced to the Mannatech technology and their range of products. And then when I started taking them, the biggest difference I noticed was I had way more energy. There's no way I could have done 12-hour shifts when I first started working. I'd go to work, come home, go to bed, get up and eat and go back to work again. My life didn't have very much else because I was tired all the time, and shift work does make you a bit more fatigued anyway. So I noticed increased mental clarity. If there is something going around at work, I just take a bit of extra nutrition during that time, and I'll be coming around at that particular time. A product more than is written on the labels to cope with a busy lifestyle. You know, I'm sure you've all heard the analogy that Dr. Nugent has given of a car when it's driving on a flat surface, it doesn't need a lot of fuel. If it's going on a mountainous journey, then you're going to use a little bit more gas to get the job done. So it's exactly the same with your body. If you're going along and life's pretty cruisy, you don't need as much nutrition. When life gets a bit bumpy, then you need to increase what you're taking. So I'm very, very cared enough to share great quality of health and well-being, and I'm grateful for the health assurance that it gives me. And it's like my health insurance. That's how I like to see it, because health is your greatest wealth. And I think especially in this day and age in which we live, we're realizing that more and more. So I'm really grateful for that. So I strongly encourage you, if you're new to the products, to definitely try them out, and you will certainly receive the benefits that I have and share them with other people. It's a great gift to give to others. So I wish you all a very wonderful Saturday, and thank you for allowing me the privilege to quickly tune in and share a little bit of my story with you.
And it's so amazing, and it's good because I know if I scan on our speaker today, most of us are moving into our more senior years, so it's so fantastic to hear from someone young and vibrant like yourself, and those subtle layers that, you know, people don't realize. A lot of their fatigue is, I think I'm breaking up a little bit, apologies, their fatigue is a lack of nutrition and even doing their best with their diet. So Robin and Kaina, a powerful family of women, thank you so very much for being here today. And now I'd like to call on Anne Everingham, please.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Anne. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Sharon and Gary and Diana, for doing this for us, because it's such a wonderful thing, and I've learned so much again. Same things we hear all the time, but it's so important to keep hearing. And perhaps I'll go back to the beginning. Diana was talking about how important the health of your cells is to your general health, and I mean that's everything. But I didn't always understand or give that much thought to what really constituted good health. And I'm not from a nursing background like the rest of the speakers have been. But they say you should choose your parents wisely. Well, I did choose my parents wisely. They were a really wonderful couple of parents, but I now understand that perhaps I was at a disadvantage. My father had recently come out of a POW camp where he had been literally starved for 3.5 years and probably not that good of food for he was away for 5 years. So I was probably fortunate to be conceived, but I think that perhaps my sister and I both had chronic problems all our lives until we found Mannatech. But as a small child, I can remember infections and hospitalizations, and it just went on through my teenage years. Chronic fatigue, exactly, just what Kyna was saying, not diagnosed as that, but very easily described as that. And had 3 children, so it was a real struggle coping with them. Caught major viruses that really knock your energy around. Just went on and on until finally I got a really nasty diagnosis that we all dread, and I went with the traditional treatment, and that really knocked me about. My lowest point ever, and it was just as I was coming to the end of that it really struck me that my only chance was my immune system, and that I had to find something to do something to help that. And I had a friend come to lunch and asked me how I was, and when I said that I really had to do something about the aches and pains, the medication were side effect of one of my medications, 5 medications that I was presumably going to take for the rest of my life. And I had to do something about my immune system, and they just so confidently said to me, oh, Mannatech. So I looked into Mannatech. I was introduced through Karen Dennis, who's a presidential director, and her direction, I give her full credit for giving me the right advice, encouraging me to take enough of particularly the glyconutrients. It's just been amazing. I've been taking them for 10 years now. And like Jan, I'm in my 70s. I'm in between Jan and Robin. And I just think, isn't it amazing that here we are in our 70s talking about how much energy we've got and how well we feel. And that's my greatest frustration in life. So many of my peers are feeling pretty ordinary, aching and hurting and just thinking it's just what they have to accept. So anybody out there who's listening to this and hasn't decided to take these products yet, they really are the most amazing supplements, and it's so obvious to me. My brain works so much better than it ever did, and I've been able to get my head around so many things. So I really encourage you to look into this, because the younger you start looking at supplementation, good supplementation as part of your lifestyle, the healthier you're going to be for much, much longer. It's really just the most wonderful gift. So thank you everybody for putting this on and for all your help. Thanks, Sharon.
And thank you so very much. Love your story. And I love the fact that people can just be proactive, take this technology with both hands and turn things around. So well done and congratulations.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to call on Bronwyn. Hello, Bronwyn.
Hello.
So tell us your story of Mannatech and wellness.
Thank you, Sharon, Diana, and Gary. Hi, everyone. I hope my story will help you and give you hope. I've always struggled with low energy levels, which started back in my childhood as As an adult, I would repeatedly go to the doctors, telling them how tired I was. Blood tests would be taken just to tell me there was nothing wrong with me. My fatigue levels increased over the years and pain also set in. Being a mum of 3, running a household and working full time, I was struggling to cope. My health deteriorated, and on the days that I forced myself to go to work, I was either sleeping in my car at lunchtime or leaving work early. My body shut down and I had to give up my job. My recliner and my bed became my best friends. I tried a whole range of things to help reduce my pain and fatigue levels, from body detoxing to infrared sauna treatment. I learnt to pace myself and I slowly was able to be part of society again. I started volunteering at a school, targeting a job as a teacher's aide, where my days would be shorter and I would have more holidays and less stress. For every hour of volunteering, I was needing an equal amount of sleep afterwards. I was out of paid employment for nearly 3 years. We sold our house that was on an elevated block and built a house to accommodate wheelchair access. When we started the process of planning our new home, we met Gayleen, our new home sales consultant. She introduced us to the products. I'm forever grateful. I had developed a trust in Gayleen, and so I decided to give the products a go. I started on glycan and phytosterol supplements. Within a week, I was waking up early and I was wide awake. I couldn't believe it. I wondered how my body would cope without the sleep that I have always needed, and I even stopped taking the products for a short time because of this. I was also in the process of menopause, and within a week, I noticed my hormones were balancing out. Within a month, I was able to start some spring cleaning, something I hadn't been able to attempt for many years. I can now walk beyond our front gate and walk freely around the block unassisted and not at a snail pace. My ability to lift things has greatly improved. I have gone from not being able to hang out the washing to now being able to lift small weights. I used to have to think twice about attending a social event. I can now confidently accept invitations knowing that I won't suffer fatigue for the next 2 days. I used to transpose my words a lot. This has decreased and my short-term memory has improved also. I've easily incorporated the supplements into my daily routine, and since starting on the glycans and phytosterols, I've added in our fat loss range, vitamins and minerals, and the anti-aging system. I have downsized and have my confidence back, which allows me to do a whole lot more. Pardon me. At 54, I am now living a more active life than before as my health continues to improve. I believe I can live until 100. Taking these supplements has been one of the best decisions of my life. I wish I had found them earlier. I now enjoy spreading the word, helping others to improve their health, downsizing their bodies, and to live a full and active life. Thank you everyone for allowing me to share my story with you today, and I hope you have got something out of it. Thank you.
How wonderful. That's an amazing story. And you can people are saying they got goosebumps, so do I. It's so amazing to hear people that have, again, just taken it with both hands and done the best to let their body do what it knows how to do if it's got the right fuel and nutrients to do so. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And then Dana's asked me to finish with my story. Now, I have multiple wellness recovery stories and family stories, and everybody I know and love and care about gets to hear about Mannatech because I know the power it offers. My story is I used to be a critical care nurse. I worked in open heart and intensive care, emergency, and coronary angioplasty, and I was uneducated in the fact of nutrition. And I had a wake-up call with my health, and that's how I was introduced to these products. And my story is similar to Bronwyn's and Anne's, and I actually had at one point encephalitis. And one of the things that I know on reflection is that it doesn't, it's not like a magic thing. It's your body, but it does give your body the tools to the very best it can, no matter what challenge is thrown at it. So on the wellness continuum, if you're starting at 30% and you add these nutrients in, you have the opportunity to move back towards where you probably all of us would like to be, as at 100%. And even with the challenges I faced, I was way better. I had better outcomes, better quality of life than the peers within the same situation. And now at 20, I think coming up 24 years, 23, 24 years of taking these nutrients, first for a health challenge, I'm noticing that when I'm around people my age, I look younger, and nobody, like I'm 63 now, and I was a late mom, and I have a reason to live long so I can see my kids and their kids. And nobody can believe that I'm 63. So it's not like a bragging thing, but I use the nutrients religiously, and it assists my body. So there's just a real lack of education in Western society and modern society that doesn't help us understand that we don't need to be achy and broken and crotchety in our later years, that we can be vibrant and be the best no matter what our genetics or our life throws at us. And that's definitely been my experience. So my hair is healthy, my skin is healthy. I use the youth technology, which is like a secret weapon. Like you say, don't tell anybody, because that's how my skin looks great. And again, someone's saying that, are you sure you're not 38? Well, thank you. But no, I bet I usually get late 40s or early 50s when people say they're absolutely shocked when I say I'm 63. And the other thing I'll just finish with that many of us joke about is that the best way to feel really good about yourself is to go to a school reunion or a family reunion, because you stand out in the crowd. Seriously, when people don't have this secret weapon of these, this isn't just any old supplements. This isn't any old vitamin and mineral. This is food-based where possible, food sourced where possible. And it goes, and with those nutritional glycans, again, is another secret weapon. So if you're ready to, take this information, this education with both hands, get back to the person who invited you to hear this information. And you can, no matter where you're starting on the continuum of well-being, from 0 being death and 100 being peak vitality, you can move in the right direction if you partner, you take action, you're consistent. And I'd also highly advise you to continue your education process, because the more you understand how these nutrient works, the more compliant and more you can customize for your own personal situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a huge round of applause to Diana Hunter. And just ask whoever, we have more extensive knowledge, education, and Diana's done some amazing ones previously. So if you want more in-depth today, we just gave you a sneak peek at some of the background and the terrain education around these nutrients, but there's more available. Just ask for it. We acknowledge you for being here. Thank you. And next week we'll be focusing more on our business, because our technology needs to be passed on, and people can get cheaper product, or they can get a part-time income. People are looking, oh man, I've used our technology in these COVID times of such uncertainty and such stress. And I noticed I doubled some of my phytosterol product in the last week. And I'm not feeling so stressed looking at the news, or I don't watch the news, but it's hard not to hear snippets of it anyway. And, I don't have all the answers, but there's a lot of inconsistent advice and education going on out there. And that lack of integrity that I see causes me stress, and I'm grabbing for my phytosterol. So we wish you a very good day, a very good health, and please grasp this with both hands and get going. So have a great weekend, everyone. I will look forward to welcoming you again in the future. We're here every Saturday morning from 9 till 10 New South Wales time. Have a great weekend, everybody. See ya. Thanks for being here.